live. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Um, I'm Tracy. I am the product engagement manager at Novel Effect, and we are really excited. We have a few Read Aloud rock stars joining us tonight to talk about read alouds that teach gratitude and joy. And they've got some great ideas to infuse some fun while meeting all the holiday and curriculum demands. And then I have my amazing colleague, Catherine, with joining me also.
Hello, everyone. I am Novel Effects Content and Curriculum Specialist, former teacher here. Tracy is a former librarian. So we like to bring our experience into these webinars just to talk about how it works so well in the education setting.
Thank you for reminding me. I always forget what I have done.
Your former life.
Our former life. So tonight we're really excited. We have Novel Effect ambassadors Tiana, Ben, and Melissa. They are going to share their tips and tricks to instill fun with Novel Effect while still meeting curriculum needs. And before that, Catherine and I are going to start by kicking us off and doing a little demo, and then we'll wrap it all up with answering some of your burning questions.
Before we get started, really exciting, we are going to be giving away a 6-month school plan during this webinar. So that would include all of the staff, all of the adults at your school. So in order to enter, you will either tweet or post on Instagram a takeaway from this webinar, or maybe a fun fact you learned. You could take a picture and just share what you're learning. It can be anything. Just make sure to tag us at novel_effect. That way, when I browse through the accounts, it will pop up on our end. So remember to post that while we are on this webinar. And towards the end, I will be announcing who will win this 6-month school plan.
We'll talk more about the school plans a little bit later, but I'm really excited about this because that lets one school really end their year on a high note. So it will give you access to Novel Effect through the end of your school year. So we hear from educators all the time that they love Novel Effect, and one of the reasons why they love it so much is because the read alouds become multi-sensory. With the music, the sound effects, the character voices, it just really brings the book to life, and it sparks a lot of engagement for their young readers. Another reason why they love Novel Effect so much is they see how excited their readers are for read aloud. They become more calm, they become more focused, and they're really paying attention and they're in tune with the story that's being read aloud. In addition to that, it helps carry throughout the day. And then, of course, it makes reading accessible for them, and it meets the needs of diverse learners. So it helps support learners who may be learning English as a second language, and it helps them puts meaning to new vocabulary. It helps create some context in the setting for some learners. It helps some learners really understand the mood and the tone of the story. And so we love hearing all the reasons why Novel Effect is really, really powerful for you and your students, and cannot wait to hear more reasons why.
So Novel Effect, if you have not used it yet, really quickly, it is an app that responds to your voice. So it adds music, sound effects, and character voices when you read aloud from a picture book. So generally, you're going to be using a physical copy of the book still, which is something that I love. But we do also have a collection of ebooks as well. We're always growing our library, so we have over 1,000 titles that work with Novel Effect. But the other really cool thing is our composers are always adding more. So right now, I think we're adding about 2 new books a week. A lot of educators like to put in requests for titles they like to see and get really excited when they see those titles added into the app. And then we also have a collection of Spanish titles as well.
Mhm. Yep.
So in just a second, you're going to see a quick demo of how Novel Effect works.
Oh my gosh, Catherine, it's so funny. I was actually talking to Owen about this book this morning because he was talking about a poster he did for art for Fire Prevention Week. I was like, "Oh, did you draw a dragon?" And you say, "Don't give the dragon salsa to prevent."
That's cute.
Yeah, he was like, "No."
You can see that Dragons Love Tacos is up on my screen. This is that music note I mentioned. So you're going to click this. It says print because we're reading a print copy of the book. I can just put my phone down and start reading whenever I'm ready. Dragons Love Taco. Notice it's waiting for me. It's not skipping ahead. Hey, kid.
Hey, what?
Did you know that dragons love tacos?
Wow.
They love beef tacos and chicken tacos. They love really big, gigantic tacos and tiny little baby tacos as well.
Baby tacos.
So again, you can hear the music, but it's waiting for me. Why do dragons love tacos? Maybe it's the smell from the sizzling pan. Maybe it's the crunch of the crispy tortilla. Maybe it's a secret. So you can see how this Novel Effect soundscape is also really good for teaching vocabulary skills. For example, sizzling. We heard the sound effect for it sizzling in the pan. And also, notice Novel Effect is waiting for me. So you can have conversations like this with your students, ask comprehension questions, manage behavior, and the app will literally wait until you continue reading again. So I'm going to skip some pages to show you again how that works. These dragons love your taco party. They love the music. They love the decorations. They especially love the tacos. Congratulations. I like this page. It's a good thing you got rid of all that spicy. Wait a second. What are those little green things in the salsa? You didn't read the fine print?
Yeah. That's the most important part.
So I'll go ahead and stop it here. But that is Novel Effect in action, and how cool is that?
Super
you can see
cool.
that Dragons Love Tacos is up on my screen. This is that
Hold
music note I mentioned. So you're going to click this.
There we go. Oh. There we go. It's always fun to watch you read, Catherine.
It feels awkward watching myself read.
Before go on and talk about the tips and tricks, when you're talking about the word sizzling, it just reminds me of the power of our Novel Effect soundscapes and the work that our composers do when they are producing the soundscapes. And I know I have some of like my tried and true favorites. But I know I think about Trombone Shorty and the way that they so carefully use jazz to really represent his life and the feel of New Orleans and the music that he was playing. Or even like in after the unimaginary friend Beagle, and the way that you can really distinguish the different settings based on the music and the sound effects that they use. And another one I love and I rave about, and I know that Tiana is going to talk about it later, is Mix It Up, and just the fun that soundscape really infuses and sparks and just like really brings that book to life.
And it's also interesting hearing some of the thinking behind the soundscapes and
Mm,
how the composers will literally like research different cultures or traditions and will seek out specific people to either add like their traditional music or their own voices in the book, which I think is really cool.
yeah, I love that. Yeah, you saying that just reminds me, you know, one that they recently did, which was Bow Wow Pow Wow, and then another one they did last year or the year before with, Parker Looks Up and how they incorporated Parker herself into the
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, awesome. Alright.
So, a few tips and tricks we like to share. Testing out a book beforehand. So, you'll notice when you're reading fun sound effects, especially voiceover, will pop up. And sometimes it's best, unless you like to be surprised when you're reading it. I kind of surprised as I was reading it in the classroom. But if you don't prefer that, testing it out at home and just knowing when to kind of pause a little bit extra for those sound effects can be helpful, especially if you know you're going to be observed using novel effect. A lot of people like to use novel effect during observations to add in like that tech element and really impress their principal with the kids being super engaged. So if you are using it for an observation, I would test it out beforehand because it's also a good way to think about discussion questions you might want to
Mm,
ask as you're reading it. Using a speaker, definitely. I always say if you're in like a small group setting at maybe your reading table, then the speaker on your phone is adequate. But in a whole group setting, definitely using a Bluetooth speaker
mm.
just makes it even more immersive. And then you don't have those kids like crawling up and trying to hear it from your phone. Um, and we have some teachers that also like to connect it to their smart boards as well. Chatting with students. So I mentioned this in the demo, but you can ask questions, manage behavior as you're reading aloud with novel effect. I actually did not realize that until I started working here, and I was like, that would have been really cool to have. Um, but there will always be students that call out, and you don't have to worry about the soundscape pausing or skipping. It will just wait until you continue reading again.
Yeah.
And then you definitely don't want to miss out on our book activities, which we will chat a little bit more about later. But those are really great no prep lessons that align to standards you're already teaching, and just a great way to extend your lesson after the read aloud.
Mhm. Oh, so we would love to hear from you all in the chat and share with us some of your favorite read alouds that you are grateful for. I'm looking at these on here. I love so many of these. Okay, so one of my oh, now I see 2 up here that I really love. 2 of my brand new favorites, Catherine, are The Yellow Bus and Remember. I just think they're both absolutely beautiful.
Which one am I grateful for? Well, Turkey Trouble was one of the first ones I read with novel effect. And I feel like that really got my students hooked on using the app. So then I started using it more. So I always think about that when I see Turkey Trouble on when I just see Turkey Trouble. And I'm noticing someone said The Scarecrow. That was another one I actually recently read aloud with novel effect that I hadn't before. And I love that one. I especially love that one of our composers went out and recorded sounds of crows in nature and then added that into the soundscape. I thought that was a really cool feat.
Yeah. Yeah, that is one of my favorites for this time of year. Um, oh my gosh, Beneath an Acorn Was a Little Wild is are 2 other great ones. Someone said Balloons Over Broadway. Ben's definitely going to be talking about that. Oh, I love The Dark, Jennifer Harris. It is lots of fun to read. Oh god, Debbie Big makes me cry every time I read it. They did such a beautiful job with that one. So many. Aw. The Jory John series. Oh, and we have one more Jory John coming. I can't wait.
I was like, he came out with another one, but I know which one you're talking about.
I know. Our table is fantastic. That's another one that's just beautiful.
That's the one I'm currently working on a book activity for. So be on the lookout.
Oh, and Melissa's going to talk about our table tonight. Actually, love seeing all those suggestions. Oh, and now we are going to pass it off to Ben, Melissa, and Tiana, and they are going to share the ways that they integrate novel effect to infuse some fun while meeting their curriculum needs.
Hey, everybody. All right, so my name is Ben Gazaway. I am a preschool teacher here in Kentucky. Got a special friend here with me. This is our little stuffed turkey we keep in the classroom. And I actually do use him during Thanksgiving time for an activity with my students. It's one of my favorite books, How to Catch a Turkey. I love these books. There's all the different how to catch a leprechaun, unicorn, Santa Claus, and all that stuff. But of course, for Thanksgiving, got to go with How to Catch a Turkey. It's really a great book and a funny soundscape too. It's all about this turkey gets loose in school when he finds out he's going to be on the dinner menu. So he is hiding everywhere in all sorts of different places. And after we read the book, I then get out this guy and I'll hide him at different places in my classroom. And I let my students run all over trying to find out where he's hidden. And when they find him, the guy describe where he's at. And then I also try to help them with learning positional words, because that's a big thing for preschool, is learning how to do position words: over, under, beside, next to, inside. So this is a great fun little activity that the students get to get a little bit more practice with those position words, which is really, really fun. And it's just funny watching them run around trying to find this guy, because I'll hide him in the most craziest places. So go ahead and send him right over there for now. The other book that I really love to do is Balloons Over Broadway. I'm trying to work my camera, guys. Sorry. But Balloons Over Broadway, this is a newer one. I just got it, and I'm excited about it. It tells the story about where the whole Macy's Day Parade came from and the use behind it. So for me, I love to do it with my preschoolers because a lot of them know these different traditions, like with turkey and the meals and things, but they don't always know where they came from, where they started from. So I really was excited to get this book because it gives me a chance to share with them, okay, this is where it got started. This is why we do this every year. This is why everyone gets so excited about it. So I can't wait to share that with them. And I've got a super fun activity planned for it. We're actually going to let the students design their own floats, so to say, their own, balloons. And we're going to fill them up with helium, and we're going to walk down the hallway of our school and have like a pre-K day parade, which I am very, very excited to get to do with the students. They don't know it yet, so it'll be a lot of fun getting them to have that opportunity to not only see where this culture comes from, but get to do it themselves. And then last one, I got to go with a classic here, is 'Twas the Night Before Thanksgiving. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have read this one before. It is really, really funny on the novel effects soundscape. So the students really get to enjoy it. I even have some of the lesson plans with it that comes with how to, 'Twas the Night Before Thanksgiving. What I like about the novel effect lesson plans, there's so many different cutting and coloring activities for my students to do, which is great because a lot of those preschoolers, they have to get practice using those tools. They need more practice using a writing tool. They need more practice using scissors. So there's a lot of great opportunities that go with those lesson plans, which is really great because coming out of the pandemic, that was one of the biggest things I noticed was a lot of kids lack those motor skills of how to use a pencil or how to use scissors. A lot of them, when they did their writing, they just used their finger on a tablet. And I've seen kids try to write with their fingers, and I'm like, oh boy. So I love accessing all three of these books. Actually have novel effect lesson plans, so I love getting to use those to give my students those extra practice and have a chance to really have fun with it. So is there anything else you wanted me to share with Tracy?
No, that sounds great. Thank you so much, Ben. Appreciate
Oh,
it.
no problem. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then we've got Melissa.
Just realized I was muted. Hi, I'm Melissa King, and I am a school librarian, elementary school librarian in Gaithersburg, Maryland. And I have been using this Novel Effect Soundscapes for over 2 years, and I am a very enthusiastic user of Novel Effect. And I think we all agree that reading aloud with young children provides positive experiences that ignite their imaginations and help them build a greater understanding of the world. And with that, I'm going to be sharing 3 books about connection and gratitude and joy. First one is Bear Says Thanks, written by Karma Wilson and illustrated by Jane Chapman. And then followed by Our Table, written and illustrated by one of my favorites, Peter H. Reynolds. And Thank You, Amu, written and illustrated by Oge Mora. Bear Says Thanks is part of the Bear book series of about 10 books about this lovable bear and his friends. And they're told in rhymed verse, and the text reads aloud very smoothly. And as the animals arrive with their edible gifts, a repeated line, and Bear Says Thanks, gives the kids a chance to participate in the story. So I'll begin by pointing out some of the important parts of the Novel Effect activity plan cover page. If you don't mind, switch into the next slide, please. And I've also printed it out as well. And one of the things I really love about the title page is that it not only has the title, of course, and the content area of the story and what grade levels the book is for, but it also has a QR code, as you can see on the slide, but also I'll point it out here. The QR code will go straight to that soundscape. So if you don't have it handy, you can just scan that. It also will have a list of the skills and concepts that are included in the activity packet. And as you can see from the slide, and I'll hold it up here, there's lots of things you can learn from this book. It's a sweet book, and the activities that Catherine has created are, there's just quite a variety of art included, words, writing, and lots of just a plethora of activities the kids can do and that you can choose from. And this particular packet has 42 pages of English language arts activities that range from word finds and Venn diagrams to discussion questions and writing prompts. One of the nice things here at the bottom is that if there's any supplies needed, she has them included here. So I'm putting it to the wrong place. And towards the end of the packet, she has a section called No Print Novelties, that you don't need anything, just what you have around you. And then where you can gather gratitude just from the things that are around you. And also home connection handouts that you could copy and send home with the kids so that they can share the book and the ideas and the things they learned during that day with their families. So I really love the packets. I use them quite often. And unfortunately, not all of the books have packets yet, but it does take time for them to be created. So I really highly recommend Bear Says Thanks. It's a really sweet book, and there's, as I said, about 10 books in the series. So there's all sorts of topics covered, and he's such a lovable guy. So if you could turn to the next slide. So as I said, Peter H. Reynolds is one of my favorite children's authors, and Our Table is a wonderful story. And although Novel Effect doesn't have a packet created yet, I did notice that Scholastic actually has a wonderful packet of activities that go along with Our Table, as well as several other of his books. So that is something that is available, and we'll be sending out the link to that. Tied into the book, if you're not familiar, Our Table is about a little girl named Violet who longs for a time when her family was connected, before life distractions and technology pulled them away from each other. They used to gather at the table and with food and love, and to make memories and share their lives together and revel in time spent together. But now her family is drifting apart, and nobody is gathering around their table anymore. And the table throughout the story just starts to shrink, and eventually one day it just pop disappears. Um, Even though Novel Effect doesn't have a full packet, they do have a list of, or some ideas of pro tips that they're called. And one of the activities was to have your kiddos draw their family table after finishing the read aloud, and to make sure that they include all of the special people in their lives, and of course their special pets and a favorite meal, and the actual foods and all. So I created a handout with a table, and also asked the kids when they're drawing their food and their family to also put word bubbles in, so you can think of the important words that you would say to your family during your family dinner time. And then I also have for the older kids, have a STEM challenge. And with the STEM challenge, using only 6 index cards and a foot of masking tape, the kids work as a team, either a table team or as pairs, to create a table that's at least an inch high off the flat surface, that can support a can of vegetables. And it's really fun to see the creativity that the kids have. This is just one example of one of the tables my students created. I have a whole bunch of pictures of their amazing tables. And it's awesome to see what they can do with 6 index cards and some tape. And more often than not, they're able to stack multiple cans. But the one can is the basic STEM challenge. All right, so we'll swing on to thank you, Amu. And thank you, Amu, for I saw there was several people that mentioned thank you, Amu, and also pairing it with Bear Says Thanks. That's a great idea. This particular book, her illustrations are fantastic, and you probably have noticed there's at least 2 awards that she's gotten. One was the Caldecott Honor, and then another was the John Steptoe New Talent for nonviolent social change books. And it is a just lovely art with collage, and you can see the smell of the soup that she's making going through the book. And so this story, let me back up, I'm getting ahead of myself. So lastly is Thank You, Amu. It's a lovely book written and illustrated by Oge Mora, as I said, and it's about a neighborhood who dreams of a taste of Amu's delicious stew. And so one by one, they follow their noses towards the scrumptious scent, and she offers a portion of the stew to everybody who comes. And eventually the pot is empty, and she's been so generous to her neighbors that now she has nothing to eat for dinner. And so one of the littlest characters in the story has a big idea to fix the problem, and brings the community together to make sure there's soup for all who would like some. So with this particular book, I used several resources from other places. This was a book that was part of the Jumpstart Read for the Record back in 2019, and there was a great list of a packet. So I'll show you in both English and Spanish. And so I'll share this with everyone if you didn't participate in that particular program back then. One of the activities that they had was to do a sing-along. And so they took row, 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 row your boat, and made a new song, which was stir, stir, stir the stew. And so I took a little bucket with it, well, a bigger one. I have a little one for this, but I have a bigger bucket or a pot that I had the kids put their vegetables into, and would sing. Each one would take a vegetable and pop it into the stew and stir, 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 stew. And it was a really fun activity for the kids to pick a vegetable they wanted and sing. And then there's also, if you're grateful and you know it, clap your hands. And that was another fun song. and of course the music goes along with all of the wonderful soundscapes that we've read the story with. And what else did I want to say? Let me make sure I haven't forgotten anything. But I guess the biggest thing I wanted to say was that there's just so many wonderful books about gratitude. This is just 3 of many of them, and Novel Effect has so many wonderful soundscapes that go along with the books, and it just really adds a touch of magic to the books. And as some people had said in the comments, I noticed, but the kids would clap at the end of the songs or at the end of the readings, and that's very true. I had one little student who would do this slow clap, and it just made my heart smile when they get excited. Is this a song? Is this a book that you're going to have music with? Anyway, I love Novel Effect, and I'm very grateful to be here tonight. So thank you.
We're grateful that you are here tonight and sharing your amazing ideas and the way that you are blending literacy with STEM and with important topics and social emotional learning, as well as just having fun, right? Yeah. So much fun, Melissa. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And I think Melissa mentioned it, but just in case, she does have a few links that we will share out by the end of the weekend. So we will be sharing out with those of you who attended the webinar some of the resources that she shared, plus a couple of others. Thank you, Melissa. All right. And next up, we have Tiana. Tiana, welcome.
Hi, everybody. I don't know how I can follow Ben and Melissa, but I guess I'll try. Hi, everybody. I am Tiana Ademensa. I am an early childhood or preschool librarian at 5 different preschool centers in Richmond, Virginia. And I'm thrilled to be on here and share with you how I use Novel Effect in my libraries. So this app has been an amazing tool. It creates immersive and memorable read-aloud experiences for my students. And this year, I have gone a little bit against the grain. So I typically choose stories based on whatever the season it is, the holiday, if there's an event, or if I found a book that's awesome and I think the kids will really enjoy. But this year, I've kind of gone against the grain, as I said before, and I've developed a pretty specialized curriculum for my students. So this year, my 4-year-olds, we're working on fairy tales. My 3-year-olds, we're working on colors and letters. And my ECSC, or my exceptional ed preschoolers, we're working on nursery rhymes. And so I'm excited to show you how Novel Effects helps me to bring these things to life. So I know that many of us are on tight schedules. We are ready for every break that is coming. And although I am a preschool librarian, I was in the classroom just like some of you are, and I was there for 13 years teaching somewhere between kindergarten and 5th grade. And so I know that the schedules can be tight with it grades coming up and parent-teacher conferences, and you're trying to figure out, how am I going to be able to incorporate Novel Effect into our reading routines? Well, one thing I use is this searchable book list, or this spreadsheet feature. And so to find this, you would go to the website, you would go to noveleffect.com, and you look at those top tabs. And once you got up there, you find resources, and you follow that drop-down menu to our Soundscape library. And this will move you over to a spreadsheet. Now, one thing I like to do is I like to use the find tool. I prefer the shortcut Control F. And that way you can search for books just using a keyword. It saves me tons of time. It shows me exactly which books are available with the soundscapes on the app. So if you notice in this screenshot here, you can see that I plugged in the word thanks, and there are 8 books just with that word in the title. I haven't put in Thanksgiving. I didn't put in gratitude. I didn't put thank you in. Just put thank. And that gave me 8 titles. Bear Says Thanks, Giving Thanks, I Am Thankful, Llama Llama Gives Thanks, Thank You Omu, that Melissa just covered, The Thankful Book, which I'll talk about later, Thanksgiving and 'Twas the Night Before Thanksgiving. So that's just 8 books just from that one keyword search. So the first book I want to talk about is Mix It Up. So for my 3-year-olds who are focusing on color, Mix It Up has been fantastic for them. Novel Effect adds these fun sounds and they perfectly match Tule's interactive coloring mixing pages. And so as I read, the kids get to imagine the splashes and the splats because that's what they hear. And it helps to bring those visuals off the page. I still allow some of the interactions with the book and I pause and let the soundscapes do their work. Or I may even pause the app on my phone. But this helps them to continue to the content, to connect to the content, and it gives them this hands-on feel, but without the mess that we would make with the real paint. So by combining the sound with the reading, my kids stay engaged, and I don't need any extra prep time to make that experience immersive for them physically. So the other book that I would like to talk about is the Thankful book. And those of you who love Todd Parr know how awesome his books are. It's perfect for showing gratitude. This book is in ways that the kids may not even consider on their own, right? Like being thankful for nature or being thankful for their friends. It's very quick. It's very easy to set up. It's a warm, positive vibe. It helps to spark those ideas and those thoughts in your classroom, especially during these busy times when there's so many other things to do in class. So let's look at some tips, right? So to wrap up, here's some tips that will help make Novel Effect work for you, no matter how packed your schedule is. So first, save time by using Novel Effect's book list or the spreadsheet to find stories that match your curriculum focus, whether you're teaching colors or gratitude or other themes, or your school's reading curriculum and program has you kind of structured or put in a box. This way you can quickly see what's available and find some books that fit right into your lesson plan. The second tip is that Novel Effect doesn't have to be a big time commitment. You can plan very short, impactful read alouds, even doing them in 5-minute segments. So with soundscapes, even a short story could feel very special to your students and engage them without adding a lot of prep time or setup. All you need is a book, a speaker, your phone, and a space. And don't forget that sitting on the carpet isn't the only place that students like to enjoy stories. Make use of your transition times and those empty gaps that you have in the schedule. You can pre-record yourself for a listening center for your students to listen to, or you can create an area where students can use the apps themselves. They can hear themselves reading and using the soundscapes. That improves vocabulary and fluency and how thankful they'll be. So lastly, soundscapes are a great way to reinforce important themes or concepts. Choose stories that align with your curriculum goals, like stories that deal with plot or problem and solution, character development, or use literature in the picture books to teach reading in the content area. Tie in that math and that science and those history lessons. Just like Ben mentioned the Balloons Over Broadway, that's a history lesson right there. And let the soundscapes bring those ideas to life. It makes your lessons more memorable and more meaningful for yourself and for your students. And there you have it, a great way to boost engagement without taking a lot of extra time out of your day.
Thank you, Tiana. So many great tips from all of our ambassadors. The QR code on this screen, if you scan it, will bring you to the spreadsheet that Tiana was sharing. It has a complete alphabetized list of all the soundscapes that we have in our app. And then when you make a copy for yourself or download it, you can also sort it by authors, last name if you like, and all of that great stuff. And then Tiana had mentioned keywords, which you can also use in the Novel Effect app when you search for books. And so just depending on where you are, whether you're searching on your browser, you can use our spreadsheet. And if you're on your mobile device, you can absolutely browse right inside your Novel Effect app. All right. Ooh, Catherine, up your alley. Oh, you're muted.
Keep doing that. I was going to address one question in the chat real quick.
Ooh.
She said, "I have no internet access at school. Can sounds be downloaded and saved to be played later?" And yes, so once you search for the book that you want to read at school, when you click that music note, so you click on the book cover, and once you click that music note, it'll go to your downloads. And that will allow you to play it later, even without Wi-Fi. So even in airplane mode, you would still be able to use it.
Mm-hmm.
So book activities. Yes. So this is what I do at Novel Effect. This was my favorite thing to do in the classroom, was creating these activities and crafts for students. So I love being able to do it now, and saving teachers time, especially with projects I always wanted to do, but I just didn't have the time to make them. So these are included with a premium subscription. You get access to all of our book activities. They're differentiated, generally pre-K through fifth, which I loved differentiation in the classroom, being able to give students a similar activity, but at different levels. So a great way to keep your kids challenged. And they include crafts, worksheets, writing prompts, discussion questions, so many different things. It was also mentioned are no print novelties, which are basically like no prep activities. You don't need to print anything for beforehand. And I learned recently at a conference that librarians especially love that section because they see so many students throughout the day. They don't want to be printing a bunch of papers. So definitely check out that section if you also want to limit your printing. Also, you'll see at the end, they include tech tips, which is also a great non-printable option. And we can turn the slide.
I just wanted to add a couple of things. So like the book activities can be found on the website, and they are also directly in our Novel Effect app. And you just look for the little pencil icon on a Soundscape book cover, and that's how you know it has an activity. Oh, look at Sophia says they have saved her day.
Yeah, they are really great for subplans also. But yeah, in the app, if you click on the book you want the activity for and scroll down, you'll see little heading, activity plans, and more. And you can view them right in the app, but if you click get, you can also email them to yourself to print. And as Tracy mentioned, they're also on the website too, if you just want to download them on our site.
Yep. So book activities are included with a premium subscription, and they are also included when I saw somebody earlier ask about school library plans. Oh, actually, it was Melissa asking about school library plans. So when you get one of our bigger plans, like a school library plan, which is enough for 5 staff members and 30 student devices, with the idea of spreading the love of reading and reading aloud from the library out to the rest of the school. And then that also includes our unlimited access to our soundscapes. It includes access to our in-app ebooks, which continues to grow. And then it also includes access to downloading all the book activities and more. And then we also have 3 different school plans that, what Catherine was saying earlier when we first started, our school plans cover enough so every staff member receives a premium subscription with that unlimited access to Soundscapes book activities and in-app ebooks. And right now, we are offering a 6-month plan, which is also what Catherine is giving away to one lucky person who's either tweeted or posted on Instagram. 6-month school plan, which is enough to like it's a great time for that. So you can finish off the school year on a high note. You can really see and explore what's included in Novel Effect, how to use it, get comfortable with it, and then get ready and think about kicking it off for next year. And then we have a full year school plan and an 18-month school plan. So if you want to get started now and you just want to like keep on going for the next school year, you've got the rest of this year and the next school year ready to go. And yes, we absolutely do take quote requests, and our amazing support staff and school plan staff will turn that quote around to you so you can provide it to whoever you need to in your building or in the business office so that you can get going. And as soon as your PO has been approved, our Haley and Patricia get you going so your staff is ready to go. And then we also offer district plans, which are great if you are a district leader or if you're an administrator who knows like, hey, I know that Dario is also going to want to do this. So like I'm going to talk to him. And then if I know if I get Dario on it, Mike's going to want to do it. So like our 3 schools will absolutely be getting a school plan. And so we offer a 10% discount off of each school per year. So each school would be $719 instead of $799 for the entire year. So you do get a discount when you buy for multiple schools. And this QR code actually will bring you to the quote page if you want to take a moment to scan it. One of the things that I love about our quote page, and I was telling Catherine about this the other day, is that if you start it and you get distracted, which I do all the time, when you go back to it on the same device, it remembers where you left off, and then you can just finish it up. Anything I left out there, Catherine?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. All right. You want to talk about? And then I saw Melissa post earlier that absolutely anybody can download Novel Effect from the App Store or Google Play Store. It is free to download, and then you just create an account and you can start reading aloud and bringing the magic of literacy to life.
Before we get to the questions, I'm going to go ahead and announce our lucky 6-month plan school winner. This user was on Twitter. Kate, I know I'm not going to say your last name correctly. Tingley. I will DM you on Twitter with information about how to claim your 6-month plan. So be on the lookout for that.
Yay! Congratulations, Kate. And congratulations to your whole school, because now you all have access through the remainder of the year. I'm going to bring up the rest, all of our amazing ambassadors, and we are going to take questions from the audience. Oh, great question, Kim. So for one teacher subscription, it is $49.99 per year. And that is a discounted price off of our regular priced premium subscription for educators. Oh, another great question, Himalatha. School library plans, students have access during school hours. If you would like students to have access outside of school hours, definitely request a quote, and then Haley will or Patricia will get back to you about how to make that happen. Thank you, Lisa. Yes, Barbara, it is recorded. You should get a replay link tomorrow, and then I'll send out another one just in case with some additional resources over the weekend. Oh my gosh, Heather, yes. We are actually working on that right now so that families, and if as a teacher, if you want to get Novel Effect and I've done this myself, I've gotten it as a gift for my son's teachers with a book and a speaker for them. But yes, we're absolutely pulling together so that you can give them a gift, almost like a gift card.
Honestly, that's such a unique gift too. Like as a teacher, I loved anything I got, but it's always cool when you like see a new idea come through, and this is something that they could use for the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
I see a question about the smart board. I am not the best person to answer that because I didn't have a smart board in my classroom, but our support specialist does get this question a lot. I'll put her email. Oh, yes. Okay. And Melissa also is answering Sarah. So that might be a better option than emailing support.
Men went dark.
I'm in my classroom and it went dark because I was still for too long.
Oh, you know what? While you guys are on here, I wanted to ask, so what tips and tricks do you all have for helping to ways that you use Novel Effect to help manage like the enthusiasm or some other feelings that might be going on during the holiday season?
I definitely like to use it because I feel like a lot more of what you call the special books are really on Novel Effect. So like 'Twas the Night Before Thanksgiving, Turkey Trouble, all those fun books are really on it. So I think that's a great way to help with it. So having those speakers, it really makes it more exciting and more interesting, I think, because there's a lot of stories that we read from our curriculum that aren't on Novel Effect, but the kids really enjoy the Novel Effect stories best because they feel like it's an animated TV, basically.
Oh, Melissa, you're muted.
Oopsie.
It happens to all of us.
I know. I forgot that. As far as the different emotions, I mean, the holidays can be just a myriad of emotions. If you've lost somebody at this time of year, or just all the different things. So, and there's many books with social emotional themes that are so helpful. Just to have that gentle message of the books, and the music that just goes so well with it. It's important that we're acknowledging. I'm in a very, very diverse area. In fact, Gaithersburg goes back and forth between being the #1 and #2 most diverse city in America. So we have a lot of different holidays that are represented in my school. And so that's also a good reason to, that there's so many different books that are represented as well, in the diversity of the books that are chosen to have soundscapes are very nice. So there's just lots of ways to address those emotions and different things that are happening throughout the holiday season. One thing I wanted to go back to the smart board question. I use a speaker, a Bluetooth speaker, and so I don't broadcast the sound through my smart board, but a Bluetooth speaker works fabulously. I do will often put an ebook up on the screen so that they can see the pictures more easily, but I found a Bluetooth speaker works really well.
You just reminded me of a fun little tip I liked to use in the classroom. If there was a book I really wanted to read with my students that was on Novel Effect, but I didn't have the book, what I would do is I would YouTube the book and I would project it, but I would mute the YouTube video so that I could still read it with Novel Effect through my phone and the kids could look at the pages. So it's kind of like having free access to the book. to the
I did
ebook.
that today, actually. I did that today for Veterans Day. We were reading one of the books, God Bless America, something like that. So I didn't have the physical copy, so I put the ebook on my smart TV and I just muted it and read off of that. So that YouTube is a great cheat for that if you can't get the hard copy.
Well, don't forget
So
your public libraries too have lots of access to ebooks. So
I was just gonna say that, Melissa, as the librarian, I was gonna say, the one of the things I used to do when I was in the library is I would use Hoopla and get the ebook from my library, and I would display it. So I didn't have the Leaf Thief, and when I did get it, I could not keep it on my shelf. So I would just borrow it from Hoopla with my library card, and then I would display it on the smart board. And then I would use my Bluetooth speaker. And then I also had, I don't know if you guys have, like, I had a mic, so like that was through the sound system that I could talk because I don't project well. So I just knew to keep my phone a little bit further away from me so I wouldn't get any feedback or anything. And so the kids could equally hear the soundscape through the speaker and then me through the microphone. Tiana, what are your tips?
When it comes to finding books, honestly, sometimes the only thing you have might be YouTube. And so there are times where I will play a YouTube video on mute and read the soundscape out loud. I mean, you have to do what you have to do. You may think you have that book on hand, and then you get there and you realize, oh no, it's not here, it's somewhere else. Hoopla is a good tool, like you said before. Get Epic is also another tool that sometimes you can find some ebooks on. Really outsource your public libraries because they have a plethora of ebooks and even audio or just the actual pictures. Sometimes you may have to just download the PDF version of the picture and show that. So, but it takes a little planning. But for those opportunities, when you get those gaps, use those gaps. I think that transitions are great times when they're lining up. You can play a little bit of it. They don't even have to see the book. You can just be reading it. They can hear it, right? It's like an audio book until you show them the actual book. So, use what you can.
Yeah.
We know how to do that as teachers, right? Use what you can.
I know that Ben has talked about using it during like dismissal time. I think when you were at the buses.
Yeah, we've had some students that their parents might be running late or something. So I'll have my phone with me and I'll pull out the app and we'll just let them pick a story and we'll read it together on my phone. And they really get to do that and helps time fly by really quick.
Yeah, I love that.
Sometimes the kids, they get a little upset because, everyone else got picked up and they didn't. So, but one kid, he actually gets a little excited. He's like, can we read a book? I'm like, absolutely, we can.
It's also a great tool for your older kids as a center to practice their fluency. Where they're reading and they can hear it, maybe using a headphone piece. If you have a tablet and you've downloaded Novel Effect, you can use it that way. I've heard about people using Novel Effect as like a production type piece, like for showcasing their student activities. I know over COVID, it was a big time deal because it was something that could be taped and shown virtually. So it's just lots that you can do with this app that will help you as a teacher with time. That'll help your students academically. So I suggest those of you who do not have a subscription to get a subscription. They make very good gifts.
Yeah, I agree with you definitely about the older kids loving them because we have a thing we do at our school called the Book Buddies where older grade levels will come read to the younger grade levels. And typically there's a lot more older kids than there are preschoolers. So what we end up doing a lot of times is I'll get a bunch of books on the carpet that are Novel Effect and I'll let them take turns using it and they get a kick out of it. So I hated because at first I felt bad they didn't have anyone right away and they were just sitting there like, what am I going to do? But using that, they really get excited about it. And if I've got other devices, I'll let the other groups use the stories as well, and they can read it to the little kids, especially my kids who maybe have autism or ADHD, and it's hard for them to focus. That using the app, they're glued to it, so it's great.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you to Tiana, Ben, and Melissa for joining and sharing all the ways that you infuse fun and gratitude with Novel Effect while still meeting curriculum needs and just, popping in some holiday fun. And thank you, everybody, for coming to join us. We definitely appreciate you coming, and be on the lookout for more.